I've done the West Highland Way many times before, but I've always had a limited amount of days to complete. So this time I want to do things differently. I'm going to absorb and take time out to enjoy the journey more than ever before. I'll be wild camping and carrying all my supplies with me to complete the trail in 10 days. A distance of 96 miles. With the guidebook from Cicerone Press, I'm going to learn more about the way than ever before. Starting just north of Glasgow in the town of Mulgai and heading to the shores of Loch Lomond. Then on to the Highlands and the vast expanse of Rannoch Moore. To my final destination, Fort William, the outdoor capital of the UK. This is going to be my West Highland Way journey. Last time on my West Highland Way journey. So I'm extremely pleased to be heading north with Mulgai about 5 or 6 miles behind me. This is annoying, the route is closed. The route over Conic Hill is closed due to tree disease. This is probably the gnarliest of sections, especially when you carry in a pack. I'm fogging up. The bridge is literally gone. And I remember this diversion last time, and it is a pain in the butt. Bit of a turn up for the books. I'm having to record this on my iPhone, and both of my DJI Osmo Action vlogging cameras are not happy. Let's see what the hotel can fix, and see if I can get them in the warm and the dryer. I certainly don't mind drying out a little bit. I wouldn't normally do this because I do like a wilderness experience, but at the end of the day I came on this journey to document it, and if I can't document it, or I'm really limited to it, I've got to rethink the game. I'm back on track. Yesterday when I made that entry on my iPhone, I really thought the game was over. Both of my DJI action cameras had really bad lens fog, to the point in which just couldn't film. And from that point in, I thought, game over. There's no way I'm going to be able to clear the lens in this kind of environment. And so I checked into a hotel, which was not in my game plan. I have this policy of when I'm on a wilderness experience, I try to stick to that wilderness experience. But, you know, needs must. The plan for today is a couple miles down on the West Highland Way is the town of Tyndrum, and then Bridge of Orkney. So we'll see where the road takes us, or where we get to tonight. But I really thought yesterday it was game over. Really thought it was game over. I was like, I don't believe this. I'm 2 cameras down. How am I gonna, what's the point of continuing if I can't film it? I've done this walk so many times. And in the end, things worked out okay. It's not raining, so let's get going, eh? I'd really come to my wit's end yesterday. You know, I mean, if you plan to film something, you plan to film something, and then when that doesn't quite happen, you then become really disappointed that you didn't film it. So, and then you get beautiful views like this that would have all been missed. Stunning, eh? The ruined priory of St Fillan's was a monastery built by the Scottish King Robert the Bruce. It was to say thank you for St Fillan's help at the infamous Battle of Bannockburn, where the Scots walloped the English in 1314.
Also, next to the ruins of St Fillan's is the Kirkton Burial Ground. The cemetery was in use from the 18th century till 1922, and buried within are some of the men who gave their life in the Great War of 1914. Even the earthen mound at the heart of the cemetery dates back to the Bronze Age. Living history is almost found on every step of the West Highland Way.
So this is funny. I saw this lovely little stone bench by this beautiful burn. I thought I'll have a little rest, a wee rest. And then inscribed on the stone bench is Battle of Darai 1306. I got out my guidebook and it said there's a famous battle here with Robert the Bruce and the MacGregors. Robert the Bruce is the iconic figurehead of sort of Scottish history, popularised in, of course, the film Braveheart and immortalised on the ramparts of Edinburgh Castle with a stone statue overseeing his land. I don't know enough about the Bruce to talk about it on camera factually, but he certainly was an iconic king, future king of Scotland, who gave the English hell. I love figures of history that gave the English hell. I may sound English, but my grandfather was from Edinburgh, so my ties to this land are more than just for its beauty. My Scottish blood runs through me, as well as a few single malts of whiskey, but that's another story. Anyway, so it's just funny, you plonk your wee behind on a stone bench, and before you know it, you're sitting in a moment of history. And literally in the field behind me was one of the most bloodiest battles in Scottish history. It'd be a strange place to camp. Just a PS to that last piece to camera. It was the clan MacDougall, not MacGregor. So I don't want MacGregors leaving comments saying it wasn't me, it was the MacDougalls, the clan MacDougall. This helps when you have a director with a script who's checking your facts. The clan MacDougalls, you cheeky buggers.
Just around the corner is another historical site, the Loch of the Lost Sword. Now, according to legend, Robert the Bruce, King of Scotland, discarded his sword into the small Loch, and it's still hidden today. Now that's a treasure worth finding. As you continue north, you find yourself in a strange clearing, a place where the land has been left poisoned through years of lead ore extraction in the 18th century. The lead was mined in the hills around Tyndrum and was taken here to be processed, and its legacy is that even today nothing grows where the factory once stood. Tyndrum is a small village with two unique features. It boasts two separate railway stations and one of the largest gold mines in Europe. But way more importantly than that, it boasts the Real Food Cafe, a great place to eat locally sourced produce, and they do awesome coffee and homemade cakes. It's also a place you can pick up some supplies and get hold of some Scooby snacks.
What a glorious day compared to yesterday. And this is one of my favourite sections of the West Highland Way. A, because the landscapes are vast, and as you head north they just open up into bigger and bigger vistas. And also, psychologically, it's a place where you can actually regain your mileage, because Loch Lomond side, you'd be lucky to achieve it. It's very psychologically wearing. Whereas here, 6 miles, 8 miles is completely a different ball game. It's completely manageable. So you can really regain some of that lost distance that you lose by Loch Lomond. And ironically, it's also this point that you have the rail link between Fort William and the south. And it's probably on this rail network that I'll be coming back to Glasgow to get myself back to London. Ironically, that journey will only take 3 hours, and yet it would have taken me best part of over a week to achieve the same kind of distance. But then, at the end of the day, that's a train, and I have little legs. Yesterday, I quoted an icon of our country, Sir Captain Tom, and I said, using his quote, tomorrow will always be a better day. And when I think of yesterday, marching around in bog and heavy drizzle and blah blah blah, and cameras not working and stuff like that, and I look at today and I look at the sunset on the horizon as I approach Glen, I think, you know what, Sir Captain, you're all right, mate. Because it's always about outlook, isn't it? Doesn't have to be a better day, but it's what you perceive it to be. But today has certainly been a better day.
This section has always been an uplifting experience for me. Although you still have a long way to go, the way suddenly feels achievable.
Now I'm about an hour away from the bridge of Orkney. Not sure if it will be light when I get there, so we'll see how the filming goes. But there's a little hotel there, there's a train station there, and just past the hotel is a bit of land that you can wild camp on. So that's what I'm aiming for. If I get there and it's light, I'll film it. If I get there and it's dark, I can't film it, and I'll film it tomorrow. So that's the plan. But what an awesome day. Absolutely incredible. And also, as my concluding statement, the furthest I've travelled. By the time I would have reached my campsite, I would have done a guesstimate between 13 and 15 miles. So over 20 kilometres. That's not bad. It just goes to show you how you really can pick up your speed when on this section versus the arbitrary slog, although it be beautiful, along Loch Lomond. So that's something to consider with your own planning when planning this adventure of your own.
The Bridge of Orkney was built, like many historical sites along the way, to pacify and manage the Scots by the British Army in the 18th century. But for me, it was a beautiful place to camp, and I looked forward to a really good night's rest.
I must confess I was really excited to reach the Bridge of Orkney last night, albeit in the dark, and then my heart sunk because basically this little bit of land we were allowed to wild camp had been overtaken by car campers, basically people driving in their car and just camping, and you know, a full-size family tent with 3 guys in it, and I thought, hello, this is going to be no sleep tonight. And I was lucky that I was able to put my little tent right by the river, which is a big river, lots of river noise, but still at 4:30 in the morning, 3 grown drunk men were playing hide and seek at 4:30 in the morning, and the rubbish they've left behind. This is why there are the restrictions around Loch Lomond in the summer. it's not because of hikers, people like yourself and I that enjoy the outdoors. It's people treating the great outdoors as some kind of drunken playground where they can party all night, make fires and just leave their rubbish. So yeah, was a bit peeved off. It's a fantastic day yesterday, and to arrive to that was like, oh God. So, you know, I've said my piece. I won't go on. You get my point, and I'm sure you agree. Respect nature and respect others, and you can't go much wrong. Anyway, let's get hiking. Beautiful Inveroran down the path, chuck a right, and then we go over the military road past Bar Bridge and towards KingsHouse. See how we go today. Not getting too dizzy walking around this cairn, just enjoying a 360 view of my homeland, my kindred homeland. Would love a coffee.
I love this section. I remember doing it once in winter, walking into the night with hard snow underfoot and only lit by a clear sky and a full moon. It's these memories that make this walk so special, and that's why I've returned so many times.
This is a nice wee spot, just by a wee burn at Inveroran, not to be confused with Invereran, which is the head of Loch Lomond, where the Beanglass campsite is. This is a strange little hamlet, this. I always found it quite interesting. There's not a lot here. There's a hotel, and that's pretty much it. But it's a really picturesque little village. It's a junction point, because another couple of miles, or 1 mile, we actually start the military road and into the most wildest part of the trek. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Approaching the end of the 18th century, the military roads built by General Wade to suppress the uprisings in the Highlands were falling into disrepair. So, one of Britain's greatest civil engineers, Thomas Telford, was commissioned to address a situation known as the Parliamentary Roads Act. However, this road in 1933 was replaced by the modern road, the A82. Nonetheless, for the West Highland Way, this is one of the most significant sections.
And I actually remember once camping at this old ruined site. You kind of reminisce about the people that perhaps once lived here and the lifestyle that they had on the land. I'd guess probably about 200 years ago, give or take. Different times then, challenging times, who's to say happier times? We'll never know. But nonetheless, this is a nice spot, and if the day was not so early, I would definitely be putting my tent up. There is a calling with the word tent in my head, and the answer is no. This has arguably got to be one of the most remotest sections on the West Highland Way. I'm just north of Bar Bridge, and probably there isn't anything or anyone probably in about 3 hours in that direction and about 3 hours in that direction on foot. So this is really, it's a bit of a cliche, a bit of an overuse, but it's in the middle of nowhere. Not quite that, but you get the point. It is definitely the most remotest and inspirational parts of the journey, and I was quite lucky because it absolutely peed down and I was able to get my tent up really quickly. and then it stopped raining, so I thought I'll come out and do a short piece to camera. I'm going to have my dinner shortly, which I'm really looking forward to. And actually, I just wanted to mention about dinners because I haven't spoken about food, and I just want to give a little mention to these guys. They didn't give me anything for free. It's just a natural sort of honest feeling about this kind of food. So this is from a company called Tent Meals, and it was basically a one-woman startup. Their range is completely vegetarian, which suits me because I'm a veggie. This one is a Moroccan main meal, 800 calories. It's got things like couscous, nuts, cashews, these kind of things, full of yumminess. The only downside, to be honest, is that you have to cook it in something, which will inevitably mean cooking in your cooking pot, which will mean you having to go and wash it up in a stream. So there is that downside, but then just an option, because definitely food is a big part of the West Highland Way. I'm not sure how many calories you would burn. It'd probably be in the region, I reckon, give or take 15 to 20,000 calories to do this journey. So that's a good way to lose a few pounds on the old belly. And then, you end up camping in a place like this.
This environment is stunning, all 330 square kilometres of it. Although finding a camping spot can be tricky. Lots of coarse grasses and stumpy heather. Rannoch Moore has been protected as a site of special scientific interest due to its ecology. But it didn't always look like this. 6,000 years ago, the whole area, in fact the whole of Scotland, apart from a few rocky outcrops, would have been forested. And over the millennia, Scotland has lost much of her native forests.
What a glorious morning. What a glorious night's sleep. I do love this part of Glen. To the head of me, I have the Buchel Etif Moor, and I have Rannoch Moore spreading out around me, and I'm heading towards the hamlet of Glen. And just in the distance, I can see the KingsHouse public inn, which will be no doubt closed, but I'm not going in anyway. And then ahead, looming in the clouds, is the infamous Devil's Staircase. It's not that bad. And just as I speak, a rainbow has appeared. I'm wondering if you can catch this on the action cam. If not, I'll try and get it on the other camera. Rainbow in the land of rainbows and whiskey. Couldn't be a better place. This is what the West Highland Way is about, eh? These are the rewards for the muddy puddles and the locked gates and the tricky routes of Loch Lomond shore. This is what it's about. Views like this. Buchel Etif Moor, a massive granite looming, just inspirational. This is why I love Scotland. I remember I came here for the first time. I mentioned it before with my granddad when I was 18. And it was the first time that I'd been here. And I couldn't believe that mountains of this nature were in my country, the UK, albeit in Scotland. I couldn't believe it. And I've been drawn to them ever since. Ever since, it's like 100 times I've been to Scotland. And I've said this before, my accent is English, but my heart is Scottish. My grandfather was from Edinburgh. I can't believe what a beautiful country I'm proud to be part of. But that's what the West Highland Way brings you. It brings you to places on foot that you whiz by in a car and you don't have a chance to breathe and taste and smell. And the reward is also much greater when you've done it on foot, when you know that every little step has brought you to a place like this. And actually, I think this should be the end of the West Highland Way, but it's not. That lies 2 days head into the town of Fort William. But nonetheless, if the weather holds, I'm one happy bunny. Just look at this.
Next time on my West Highland Way journey.
Welcome to the Devil's Staircase. Heaven's beginning to rain again. I can feel drizzle on my bald head, my early detection system having no hair. An early start on the last day of my journey along the West Highland Way to Fort William. 5 miles or so short of my ends goal in Fort William. I am smiling, and the reason why I'm smiling is because I've reached the end of the West Highland Way. I can't believe it. 96 miles, and the walking is over. So if you've liked this film, don't forget to give it a like, give it a share, and please subscribe to my channel, and let's get planning for the next big adventure, wherever that may be.